Highland Sky. The field is in the stretch. Marzo is still there. Marzo's in front. Then Dot Matrix, Channel Maker, Sadler's Joy coming on the outside, and Cross Border's in between horses. Here's Sadler's Joy. Cross Border in tight there. Sadler's Joy in front. Cross Border in second. Sadler's Joy got there. Cross Border right there in second. Highland Sky closed to be third.
Sadler's Joy does it again around 3 turns in this race and wins is the favorite, Javier Castellano.
I thought there was some contact down the lane between the 6-horse Sadler's Joy and Cross Border, who's trying to sneak through in the white cap with the white blinkers between Sadler's Joy and Channel Maker. No question that Sadler's Joy made it tight on Cross Border at the beginning of the stretch, which was proper riding. But as you watch Sadler's Joy, who's on the lead and on his wrong lead, on his left lead, laying in a little bit, Cross Border, the 2-horse, has to check a little bit. I need to see the head-on to see what's going on here, but to me, there's something happening.
Well, let's bring in Gary Stevens, and obviously Gary Stevens, the head-on, is going to tell us a much better story.
Yeah, from this pan shot that we just watched there, it looks like several horses were affected as Sadler's Joy did drift in. It appeared one horse was down in tight, several horses, Channel Maker was floated over, and Manny Franco was looking out for the rider inside of him. Just hard to tell right now. You guys are a few seconds ahead of me. You can probably assess it better than I can in real time, guys. Take over.
Yeah, oh, my bad, Wolfie. I don't know. There was a little bit of contact there, but I'm probably the wrong person to ask. You got to be. I tell you what, when you're in these situations and you've got you're financially involved from a wagering standpoint, you start making excuses. Well, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad, but all the people at home that have Cross Border are telling me how bad it was. So I'll stand down and stay out of it.
Tom, we got to look at seeing the head on there. What did you see?
Well, I'll tell you what I'm not seeing is I'm not seeing an inquiry or objection here, which really surprises me. It almost has to happen when you look at what went on in the race. Even if you're not sure whether the 6-horse Sadler's Joy should come down, this is something that has to be looked at closely, and these riders need to be talked to and asked their opinions about what happened.
Gary, let's get another look here at this head-on view, and it's Sadler's Joy on the extreme outside. That inquiry objection sign now has gone up as we expected. How tight do things get here with Cross Border, that 2, in those green blinkers?
You know what, after watching it the first time, I think that there were a lot of tired horses. I don't think really it affected the outcome of the race in general, for the fact that the 2-horse, you could actually see, as you guys were showing that slow motion shot, Jose Ortiz shouting at Javier Castellano, hey, I've got 3 guys inside of me, straighten that horse up. But I think the plate had already been set as far as who was going to finish where at that point. I don't think it really cost anybody a position. May have changed 3rd and 4th ever so slightly. But I think the best horse won. I would hate to see the owners and the bettors penalized on this thing. But in saying that, is it fair for the 3rd and 4th place horses to have swapped positions because of steadying in the final strides? That's the question, guys.
Oh, those lanes really tell you a story. Deeper in the stretch back further, Cross Border actually came out a touch, but it looked a little more severe what Sadler's Joy did late in the stretch.
Yeah, look, I realize Gary doesn't have the looks that we're getting right now, and I don't know if it would change his opinion, but I know my opinion is not going to be the same as Gary's. So these 2 horses, they make significant contact, and you can see them get knocked off stride. There's no question that Cross Border gets knocked off stride by Sadler's Joy. And so the difference between what's happened here, what we saw earlier between Midnight Bijou and the eventual winner of the Personal Ensign, is that you're looking at a couple of horses that not only made a little contact, but it changed their stride and it knocked them off balance. That is significant. So to me, Jonathan, I'm sorry, but if I'm the steward upstairs, this is a no-brainer. The 6 comes down.
Yeah, you know, it's funny when you see them when they come together. If you're new to this game, it's not very often that you get 3 in a line that close together. Now, out in the open, if it was just those 2, it's not a huge bump here. They're in there tight. Jose's already in a pretty tight spot, and Javier does come over a little bit and does bump him and does affect him a little bit here. But we've seen in New York, we've seen bumps like that before that don't result in changes. I do see that there's contact. I want to see what they decide to do upstairs.
Now, Gary, let's bring you in again. We're getting a look here at these lanes, and that really shows Sadler's Joy coming in quite a bit here down the stretch.
Yeah, he sure does. And Tom, I'm not disagreeing with you any whatsoever. As a rider that rode all the years I did, the frustrating thing for me is the different rules in the different states, different jurisdictions across the country. This we've seen slide all year long, all last year long, especially up at Saratoga. I'm not a fan of it. Let the rules be the rules. I think the best horse did win. I think there was interference, but according to how they've been doing things in the past, they haven't been consistent in what they're doing. They've been consistent in letting the boys play ball, and it's a danger to the horses. Hey, look, you've got grooms yourself that you go back to that barn, and you're the one who's got to take care of them the next morning. You've got owners that they're valuable. They're valuable assets is what they are. They're a valuable investment. And a horse, knocking around like that, you just pray the next morning that they're sound and in one piece when you get down there. But the only way to police it is to start taking some of those things down. And I'll leave it at that, Tom. I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I'm just saying how they've been playing the game in New York, and it's time it changes a bit.
Yeah, look, I hear you loud and clear, Gary. I do think what we're looking at today is more significant and more extreme than a number of the ones they've left up. So let's wait and see what the stewards do here as we're playing Monday morning quarterback. But I hear you loud and clear, Gary.
And, as you look at this again, too, I mean, the domino effect had cross-border interfering with Channel Maker and having that horse to take up a little bit late in the stretch, who wound up fourth in here. Check in with Acacia.
I did speak to jockey Javier Castellano, who was aboard Sadler's Joy, and he told me that he felt that his horse didn't alter course, that he kept a straight line at any point. He didn't feel like he was lugging in or anything like that. But one thing that he said was unfortunate was that everybody was just in really tight there in the stretch, which did ultimately cause that chain reaction. He felt like there was a lot of movement going on to the inside of him. So not feeling that Sadler's Joy was coming in, was lugging in the stretch, and he felt watching the head-on that his horse did keep a straight path. So that was his thought process. That's what he just relayed to the stewards as far as Sadler's Joy closing on the outside, Greg.
We'll see what happens.
So
the
let me
longer
respond
they
to
look
that.
at this, too, the more you think there could be a change.
So, I mean, look, Castellano makes it tight on cross-border on purpose, and that's what he's supposed to do. He's the widest of all. He doesn't have to come in at all if he doesn't want to, but he's hitting right-handed. He wants to be tight on cross-border so he can't get through. He feels him as a threat to his inside. I don't know if our winner, Sadler's Joy, switch leads when they made contact over his left lead, or if he switched leads right before it, but there's no question he's moving over a lane and he switches leads about the time that happens. But as far as him saying he didn't change course, look, it's called race riding, but that excuse he gave the stewards, that's not valid. He's making it tight on him, like he's supposed to.
They can see that. He came over about a path and a half.
Right, he's supposed to do that, though.
Of course, you're going to say that to the stewards. And, yeah, again, the domino effect here. Channel Maker and Manny Franco, you see, have to take up a little bit here, and he winds up getting passed for third by Highland Sky.
Yeah, our audience has all been there before. You need that touchdown late in the game to get your cover. That's how I'm feeling right now. If you want to know how I feel, I'm just waiting, hoping that they don't, for my own personal reasons, that they don't make a change. But that's how it feels. That's the same idea as if you're watching Sunday Night Football and they're reviewing whether or not it was a touchdown on the corner of the end zone.
It gets tight in a lot of these races. That head-on there does not look like it bodes well for Javier Castellano's case.
Yeah, look, all right, I'll just lay it out there. I'm surprised they're taking this long. I mean, to me, this is pretty evident what should happen, and that is the two. Maybe what they're looking at is how many horses the six fouled. With him coming in, did he foul more than just the two horse? Should he come down any further than to second? Because I can't imagine they're looking at this and saying, let's leave the six up. It just doesn't pass the smell test.
So this, to you, is an open and shut case?
Absolutely.
Meanwhile, there's Tom Albertrani waiting to see what the outcome will be, the decision of the stewards. I'm sure, look, you've been on both sides of it. Every trainer who's been in this game has been on both sides of it. To cross the wire first and have a graded stakes taken away from you.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to be incredibly painful.
Heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Nothing could be more heartbreaking than what happened in last year's Kentucky Derby. Can you imagine?
And, of course, Luis Saez and maximum security. That had never happened before in the Kentucky Derby. And
They took him down.
we do have a change. So the
And they
stewards result
put him
interference, and they place him fourth behind Channel Maker, who got interfered with as a result of Sadler's Joy coming into cross border. Let's bring in Gary Stevens. And Gary, your thoughts here on this decision?
Well, here's what I think. In every other sport, whether it be football, even baseball to some extent, but we've got all of these different angles. We don't in horse racing, and it's very simple to me. Why don't we have a drone above out there behind the horses to show us the true lanes and the movement that is actually going on? You know, it would help the stewards. It helps the viewers at home to be fair. Just something I'm throwing out there, guys.